Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Points of Articulation. Happy Thanksgiving. My name's Dave and if you're new to the channel, welcome everybody. Today, I am finally looking at the Hot Wheels Star Wars Death Star, which is part of the Build the Death Star series released in 2019. This battle station was first seen in Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. So this here before us is the endgame of the Build the Death Star series. Previously on my channel, I looked at 9 separate ships, each representing their own film in the Skywalker saga, and each came with a piece to build our very own die-cast Death Star. And I know Darth Vader wouldn't approve of my technological terror, but I love this miniature so much, I think it is a great idea to honor the legacy of Star Wars. And I know some of the movies are hit and miss, I'm not getting into the politics of it or anything like that, but looking at this Skywalker saga as a whole, all the beautiful ships we got from all those movies, it's amazing, and I'm glad Hot Wheels did this. And what made it even better is we got to build the Death Star, and I can only hope that Hot Wheels will give us a nicely film-accurate paint job version somewhere down the road. Now, I know everybody wants to see the detail on this bad boy, so I will move on to the size of this vessel, which is roughly 3 inches tall, and for all you geometry buffs, the radius is about 1.5 inches. So it's a nice sized model. And if you notice the stand, it is a lot bigger than the normal release version, so I'm happy about that. This does stand out in the collection, as we will see. I will compare it to some other vessels later on. It's a beautiful piece. So everybody should know how my videos go by now. We're going to take a look at the mold, the paint, put on a stand, compare it to some other pieces, and then we'll be done. So let's get moving. So let's get this video started looking at the mold. Like in all my videos, I will go over all the major sections of the ship, and then we'll get a nice close-up look to see those fine details. Now, I have a couple source books that tell me different sections of the Death Star, and I basically broke it down into the most notable areas. Starting off at the top, we have our Northern Command Sector, or the North Pole. And if you turn to the bottom, besides looking at the stand connector port, you guessed it, the South Command Sector. And you can see some beautiful detail in here on the outer hull. Which is funny because all these points that are smooth are not smooth at all. These should all be basically nooks and crannies and cities with turbo lasers and towers. But you know, the size and scale is so messed up because it's so small here that you're not going to get that type of detail. Now, going across, this is where we find our ion engines, hyperdrive, hangar bays, and this whole section here is called the Equatorial Trench. So that's pretty cool. Just like the Earth, it has an equator. Same thing. And that goes all the way around, looking good. And then, finally, we have our super laser emitter dish, which looks amazing. You can see all the nice paneling in there. Beautiful. And that basically covers everything about the Death Star. Now, there is no copyright crap on here. As we saw when we assembled each piece, there's model numbers on each one of these sections. But, you know, just looking at it, there's nothing on here. It's just pure detail. And I like it for that. So now, let's get a close-up look. And now looking at the mold of the Death Star, we'll begin with the South Command section right here. As we can see, we have a stand connector port, very similar to all the other vessels we've seen thus far. And for the most part, moving forward, all the outer hull sections, or city sections as some people call them, is a bunch of different types of recess work. We have everything from large-scale rectangles in different shapes, to line work, all the way to oddly shaped recessed areas. So it does have a lot going for it. Now you got to remember the scale of the Death Star is very, very immense. So they're not going to get all the fine details in here. And in my opinion, what they did put on the model is very nice. So let's look at it. Starting off, we have a nice recessed circle. Looking good. A bunch of rectangular recesses. Looking sharp. I think that looks great. Lots of nice work. And you can see when the light hits it, it really comes to life. Moving up to the midsection, you can see a lot of nice line work and recesses. Now right here is one of my problem spots on the model. You can see these little white dabs here and there, and this big smear. I don't know what this is. It's not a defect per se. There's no scratches, there's no dents. But when I tried to rub it away with some soap and hot water, it smeared. So I'm thinking it's some sort of glue or maybe a type of resin or something that went on the model. So I am working on that, but keep an eye on that for your model at home. So moving on, again, nicely done. I really love all the details on here. I think it looks great. So moving up now to the midsection and equatorial trench. Looking fantastic. We can see some beautiful designs here. I love this section with all the weird recesses. And of course the trench, where we have all the landing bays, extra turbo lasers, and the engines are in this section as well. So that's pretty cool. Very interesting. I love this section. All the nicely done lines. Looking good. This section as well. Beautiful. And I know some people might be going, Dave, why are you getting so excited? It's just a ball. Well, to me, it's not just a ball or a sphere. This is the Death Star, man. This ship's iconic. And I know it's a battle station, but you know what? In Rogue One, it did have hyperspace. And technically, it's just a giant spaceship. It moves, has lasers and everything else. Coming to the top. Again, look at all this beautiful stuff here. Great line work. And, you know, the pieces, they don't match perfectly sometimes. But it works. You can see everything's a little tiny bit off. But from a distance, you're never even going to know. It looks fantastic. Look at all this line work here. Beautifully done. I'm just really excited about this. And here we go. The super laser emitter dish. Now I have to admit, my favorite part of the battle station is the super laser emitter dish. To me, it looks great. Look at all those nicely done details. The way the light hits it, and you see the dark and light areas, it really adds a lot of depth to the model and brings it to life. And I know it's all silver. Trust me, I would love a film accurately painted version myself. But this is honoring the legacy of Star Wars, and I think they did a great job. Moving on to the top of the battle station, we can see tons of lines. Again, beautifully done. Now, if Hot Wheels did continue with Build-A-Ship series, I would love for them to tackle other big stations or vessels. Some that come to mind is the Super Star Destroyer. Or if they really wanted to blow me away, they could even do Cloud City. I would buy a couple ships to get that. Regardless, this one right here that we're looking at is a beautiful piece. And finally, we have the North Command Sector. Nicely done. Looking good. And on the very tip, we can see a bunch of circles like a bullseye. Awesome. Now, one last thing I do want to bring up. Many people might have been noticing these lines going around. This is because the Death Star was built from multiple pieces. So coming down, you have all the separate pieces with all the lines of them being put together. And some people might not like that because there's gaps here and there, especially around the dish. But you know what? From a distance, and even close up at times, it just looks like more detail, to me anyway. And I like it. I think it looks awesome. I know some people might not like it because you see these lines going across, but I don't know. It is what it is. I think it looks good. What do you guys think? Anyway, it's not a big deal in my eye, but I do want to bring it up because, you know, I'm covering the whole entire ship, and I want to give people different things to look at and consider. And that does it for the mold. Hopefully I covered everything. So now let's take a look at the paint. And now looking at that paint on the Hot Wheels Star Wars Death Star, this baby features one color, just like the rest in the series, silver. And you know what I'm going to say? I wish it was chrome or mirrored. But the paint is not bad on this at all. As you can tell by looking, you see my 4 lights, my other hand, me in the background, my camera, my table, my notepad. Everything's there. And the fact that it's that reflective really makes this build the Death Star seem much more elegant, much more collector friendly, and I like it for that. Now, as we all know, this is 9 different pieces, all having the same paint job united together, and for the most part, it's very nice. Having said that, at some points, like right here above my thumb, you can see like little white marks, and it's not scratched or dented or anything. I think it's just like a little scrape. I'm not too sure. I don't even feel anything. So if you're good with working with paints, I guess you could buff that out or something. But I only have a couple spaces. Like here's another one right here. Again, it's not damaged. It feels like it might be like some sort of glue or something like that. But besides those little spots, it's perfect, and I think it looks amazing. I like how the light reflects off all the nooks and crannies and the surfaces, especially the dish. It's fantastic. So let's get a nice spin on here. We see the bottom looking good. Turning around to the side, to the top. Again, very reflective. Beautiful job. So that does it for the mold as well as the paint. So now let's put this baby back on a stand, compare it to some other items, and then the video will conclude. And just like other Hot Wheels ships, it does come with a nice translucent stand with the Imperial insignia. Very nice, bigger than the normal one. Just peg it into port like so, hear that click. And just like that, everybody, you are good to go. And now for a quick size comparison with the Death Star seen in the center. Here we have the entire Build the Death Star series released in 2019. So we're going to move from the left all the way to the right hand side. We have the Naboo Starfighter, Republic Gunship, Jedi Starfighter, Darth Vader's TIE Advanced, Boba Fett's Slave 1, Imperial Speeder Bike, Resistance X-Wing, Kylo Ren's TIE Silencer, and finally the Millennium Falcon. Now, I gotta say, even though I'm critical about the paint, I would prefer a mirrored finish. I do think this series as a whole looks amazing. We have representation from the original trilogy, the prequels, and the Disney trilogy all together. Love or hate some of the movies, Star Wars is such a massive part of a lot of people's lives from all over the world, and the fact that Hot Wheels got together and did this to honor not just one faction of the fans, but all three, to build something amazing, that Death Star, it blows my mind and it looks beautiful. It doesn't matter if you have it on a shelf or a display cabinet or case. Seeing how the light reflects off all the angles with that beautiful paint job really makes you think, wow, this is something special. And that's because they are. So let me know in the comments below. Do you like this series? Do you like the Death Star? And would you like if Hot Wheels were to make other series, possibly with different ships, that build bigger vessels or stations like this? Because I'm going to be honest with all of you at home. If Hot Wheels were to come out with brand new molds and not rehashes or repaints, and said, hey, if you buy 8 of these, you could build a Super Star Destroyer that's fully painted, I would be on board. Again, let me know what you think in the comments. And now for another size comparison with the Hot Wheels Star Wars Death Star seen in the center. On the left-hand side, we have the Hot Wheels Star Wars Razor Crest, a beautiful ship in my opinion, and you can see the size difference there. And finally, on the right-hand side, we have the Star Wars Black Series 6-inch Mandalorian figure. And you can see how the Death Star compares to a 6-inch figure, and you can see the size difference there. The Death Star is a giant model. And just a reminder, if you want to see reviews of any of the starships I've shown today, look in the links in the description below. And that does it today for my review of the Hot Wheels Star Wars Death Star, which is part of the Build the Death Star series released in 2019. Now, I've been blowing smoke up this miniatures tuchus the whole video, and I am not sorry. I am so excited to finally have this done and to have it in my collection. And once I snapped all those pieces together and held it in my hand, I was not disappointed. For the mold, it's amazing. Lots of finely done recessed lines and shapes. And you know, for the scale of it, they couldn't put a lot of detailing on here. So what they did, I think, is acceptable and it works. For the paint, you know, I would have loved a mirrored look, a chrome look, but this silver works. It's very reflective, and when you have this on the shelf with your other miniatures, there's a bit of majesty to it because it does stand out amongst the other ships. Again, I will say, if they made a film accurate paint job, I would buy it in a heartbeat. Now don't forget, it does come with a translucent stand, so it blends in with the rest of the collection, even though it's about 2 times the size. And that's everything I have to say about this technological terror today. I hope you enjoyed my review. If you did, hit that like button, and if you'd like to see new reviews every Thursday, subscribe. Again, thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to watch my video. I greatly appreciate it. And of course, happy Thanksgiving. I hope all of you at home have a really nice holiday that's fun and safe. So again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.